Cool. Yeah, so you can scan the QR code and then we can just take a few minutes to answer this question just to see who's in the room right now. Those online, you can also scan it using your phone and answer the question, or you could also, yeah, yay.
Oh, that's so fun. This is our first time using it.
Yeah. So we'll be using this tool a little bit over the next next hour or so. Yay, awesome. So we have a lot of residents here. That's exciting. And then the next question is, again, scanning it and just putting down a few things that you love about Union Square. Those who are here.
Oh, just updates. QR pretty closely now.
Yeah. Yay. Well, exciting. We do love the diversity.
Hello, welcome. We're having activities, so just feel free to drop me off drinking. Stay around.
Exciting. We love CultureHouse.
Yeah.
We do, not to shut ourselves out. Yay. I'm gonna move us along. Great. Well, that was just getting to know each other a little bit at the moment, but I'm just gonna go over what is CultureHouse. So CultureHouse started with this idea of noticing that there was a lack of indoor public spaces, as well as seeing that there was also a lot of unused vacant spaces. So we kind of put both those ideas together and said, what would a pop-up indoor public space look like? And the answer was CultureHouse. And this is our mission, is that CultureHouse improves livability in local communities by transforming unused spaces into vibrant social infrastructure. So what does that mean? CultureHouse is, it could be a lot of things, but it can be a living room for the community, so a place to just come and hang out. It can be an urban design test kitchen, which means testing out different ideas of what public spaces should look like or could look like in a community. It's a third space, so it's a space that's not home, it's not work, it's somewhere in the middle where you can, again, come in and do whatever you feel comfortable doing. It's an indoor public park, so, like, why can't we take the idea of how you feel in a park outside and put it inside and, have a fun space to be in, that's indoors as well. And then it's a host for regular programming, so that's supporting local businesses, local artists, and creating a space for them to show their work and highlight their businesses as well. Just kind of going through our pop-ups a little bit. So our first pop-up was in Bow Market, and we this was kind of the first iteration of the CultureHouse process. And the goal of this was to test out whether our process actually works. And I think I wasn't there, but Aaron was. And when he went in, the thought was that we are going to go in, see if this works. And if it doesn't work, we just won't have CultureHouse anymore. But we went in, and here we are 6 years later now. And we've done about 6 pop-ups since then. And this is one we did in Peabody, which was in 2021. So just as we were getting out of the pandemic. And this was creating a space for people to gather safely after pandemic, as well as kind of the residents reached out about this project and said we wanted to bring more vibrancy and more activities to their downtown. And they said, how can we do that? And we did this 1 month pop-up, and yeah, we saw about a 60% increase in positive feelings about their downtown. Also saw a business and helped out a business after this to set up a space just like this in their downtown. The next was, these are a few, but the next one after that was in Salem, where we worked with the city of Salem to test out what their old town hall building would look like as a permanent arts and culture space. And what we actually learned was that the community didn't want another arts and culture space. They actually wanted a community space. So they wanted a space to hang out. And this was a little part of the pop-up, which is the living room. And most people spend most of their time in this space. So it was kind of interesting learning of like, what did the community actually need? And this was our most recent one, and that's Steph. But this was ours in East Somerville. And we worked with East Somerville Main Streets to do this pop-up for a month where we were learning with all the new developments coming into Somerville, and then also East Somerville, looking at how Main Streets there can advocate for new businesses to make sure that that's exactly what the community wants and needs and will use. And this is what we tested out. And again, overwhelmingly, people wanted more community spaces and businesses that created a space for the community to come together and gather. So that was East Somerville. And these are just kind of impacts that we see across our project. So CultureHouse builds crisis resilience. What that means is we create spaces where people come together, get to know their neighbors, and in times of crisis, you've met someone that you know lives close by, and you can ask them for help. You can form these relationships that help build that resiliency within a community. Next, CultureHouse creates more livable communities. We create indoor public parks. We create really fun spaces that people can be in and just feel more happy, more healthy, more vibrant in these spaces. And third is that CultureHouse spurs equitable community development, which means all of these pop-ups are, we just kind of lead this process, but everything is done by the community and whatever they are looking for. And that really is kind of the core of how we create these spaces and how we run them, as well as also a space that is supporting and creating a space for a lot of local artists, local businesses that might not have their own space to be in, but can use this as a space too. But yeah, that's a little history about us. And now kind of moving more into Union Square. So we, these are some goals, but just to start with, the project started with us kind of joining the conversation with the neighborhood council about their conversations around a community center in the neighborhood. And we thought this would be a great idea to have as a pop-up because this has been a conversation that's been happening for a really long time, but not actually seeing that physical space and having people be able to see and feel a space. So what we did was apply for funding and create the space. And we, at the moment, are being funded by the city's ARPA funding, which is their COVID recovery funding that's happening right now. And yeah, we were able to get funding and we're doing this pop-up now, which is exciting. And just, we've kind of set these 3 goals for what we want to learn from this pop-up and what's kind of driving this pop-up process. And these goals have come out of conversations with the neighborhood council, conversations with our advisory group, conversations with community members, and also the multiple surveys that we have out right now and hearing from what people in the community want and need. So the first is, of course, like create a framework for a long-term community space. So at the end of this, we will be generating an operational model for what a long-term community space looks like in Union Square. Creating opportunities for development to meet community needs. So how can we make sure that this long-term framework continues to center the community within that process? And then connect the learnings to the larger conversations around community spaces in the city. We have no shortage of conversations around this in Somerville. So us making sure that this doesn't feel as an isolated thing within the neighborhood, and also is connected to what's happening in Somerville as well. The second, also along those lines, is piloting a community-driven public space. So identifying needs that are being addressed through existing social infrastructure. So what are things in places that people are already using and how can we learn from that? Including voices of people who have not been part of these conversations around the community center. So how can we make sure that everyone is being included in this process and it truly is what the community needs? And providing programming for youth and seniors. So central idea for the community center is creating this intergenerational space where kids and older adults can be in the same space, have programming, and create that environment as well. The last is establishing identity for the neighborhood. This kind of just stems from looking at what the future of Union Square might look like with all of the new developments coming in that also brings new residents. So how can we create this space where all the new residents can meet one another, can talk to each other, can exchange resources, information, become friends. And then creating a space for easy access to neighborhood resources that is definitely something we hear a lot is like, how can people, what is that one-stop shop for getting information about anything you might need? Also a new resident that moves into Union Square, how can they do that too? And then providing a platform for local organizations and community groups to gather. Again, something a lot that we heard from local groups and organizations in Somerville is just having that free accessible space where they can gather, they can have meetings, and they can also meet the community and get to know them too. Where are we now? What we've been doing over the last 6 months is that we have had a survey out, and along with that, just having multiple conversations and bringing people together like this. So we've been at the farmers market, we were at the Hispanic Latin Heritage Month celebration, the school, and the senior center. We've also put together an advisory group of people within the community, and we've had about 2 meetings now. Yeah, so 2 meetings, and again, just using that as a way to continue to connect with the community as much as we can, and centering that within the process. Just going over like people that we've heard from now. We've heard from a lot of homeowners, a lot of renters within Union Square, and a lot of people that just love visiting Union Square as well. We have heard from about 18% BIPOC residents within this neighborhood and around it. We've heard from seniors and a little less from teenagers, but I think a big focus of ours during the pop-up is going to be to bring teenagers and kids into this space and see how we can learn from them as well. So like the learning doesn't just stop here. Once the pop-up's open, there's a lot more that's going to happen. So what are we hearing? We are hearing that people want a space that they can meet new people. They want access to information and resources. So community groups want a space that they can gather. Local organizations need a space they can hold community meetings. And people want a space that kind of feels like a library. And then interestingly, also looking for all weather spaces that are free to hang out. This was something that came up a lot, is especially with it getting cold now, how can we create these indoor spaces that you can go in and you don't have to feel obligated to buy something? And the next is more outdoor and green spaces. I know this is sometimes hard for us to respond to because we are creating an indoor space, but I think our goal is to be able to take everything from the community and put it down so that at least it's down somewhere, while we, even if we're not able to address it, people know it's a thing that that the community needs. More spaces to view and make art, and then wanting places that are okay to bring kids to, which is also kind of like what we see in the square is largely like restaurants, bars, and not ideal for like families to go to and hang out in as well. That is all I had. But yeah, any questions anyone has here? Anyone online, you can unmute yourselves or raise your hand and you can ask any questions. So we'll spend a few minutes on that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. No questions.
Yeah, I have one. So, I've had the pleasure to work with CultureHouse before, through the library. And one of the things I'm wondering is the goal for CultureHouse to always kind of just be moving on? Like, what's the end result, I guess, for CultureHouse?
For CultureHouse, I was not prepared for those questions. The future of CultureHouse. I think if I had to put it in context, I would say like our goal is to be able to create pop-up community spaces and then the community be able to advocate for those spaces after we've closed those down. So a big part of it is that one is of course centering the community as we go through this process, but also making sure that the community is kind of being empowered to realize that this is a process they can be a part of anyway, and they should be asking the people around them to be a part of it. So kind of seeing how, I mean, we're also learning to see how that works. So with the advisory group, we meet them and they kind of go through our whole process with us. So after we're done, can the advisory group kind of advocate for the space and then create that one after? But yeah, our goal is to do that. And then we are also looking at seeing how we can possibly also manage any long-term spaces. Like, we have worked in these communities, so could we also offer to be able to manage them? So there's that part of it, but I think we like to do pop-up temporary models because that actually, a big part of these, and what we're seeing in Somerville as well with all these development projects, is that you don't see that action right away. So people are asking for things and you have to wait years for it because it doesn't happen. You know, it takes a while. But for us, we asked you now, we created the pop-up, we showed you it's possible and this is what it looks like. And then we can show you this tangible space that's possible and then kind of taking it forward from there. I don't know if that answers your question, but
Perfect, actually, it totally makes sense. It
Yeah.
fits with, I just was thinking because it does seem to have like a Johnny Appleseed approach where you're kind of just planting seeds and moving forward and you're like, okay, here it is. This is what it could look like.
yeah.
And then you're gonna move on to like the next thing.
Yeah, no, I would say like, yeah, we are doing that, but I think recently in the last year, because of working in Somerville a lot, it's been really interesting to be able to do our last project in East Somerville and then do the next one here, because a lot of what we learned from there is also being applied here too. And yeah, so being able to work in Somerville has been really interesting. We're doing other projects as well through ARPA, so being able to tap in those communities and realize that everyone's looking for a similar kind of space has been really interesting as well. So I secretly want to just stay and work in Somerville, but I know like CultureHouse has to grow, so there's that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you about the pop-up space project?
Yeah.
What's the timeline on that? Have you been hearing from formers, okay, who want to participate beginning in January?
Yeah, so the timeline is that the pop-up itself is gonna open in January, and it's gonna be for 5 months till June. We're gonna be open 5 days a week, Wednesday to Sunday. And yes, we have a call for programming out, and I think we've got about 15 people signed up right now. So we're still planning out what that looks like. But yeah, we have a space for performances, we have a space for art, for so many things, but I know Maitland's gonna talk a little bit more about what that looks like. But yeah, we do have a call for programming out, so anything you want to do, just let us know. Yeah.
Have you been hearing from musicians or performers?
Yeah.
Interested?
Yeah, definitely. We have a few jazz bands that have reached out. We've had one theater group that's reached out as well. We've had a lot of art workshops that have been pitched as well, some dance performances too. So yeah, a lot of like range of things.
Yeah, I work with professional jazz musicians.
Awesome.
I mean, they're in the Boston metro area. Would there be a chance to take a peek at the space? Because I'd like to let them know, okay, is it worth during the daytime to come down and play, and how large is it, and how much space? Is it going to be standing room, or will there be folding chairs?
Yes, both. Yeah, I think it's the interesting thing about our spaces, which I love, is that it can be anything and everything you want. If you want standing space, we'll make it standing space. We use a lot of flexible furniture that's foldable, can be moved against the wall, so you can have the big room to yourself. We have seating so people can sit as well. We have tables if people need that. And you can see the space, I would say the week of the 18th.
Okay.
Is a good week where we feel like we'll be ready enough to get people into this space.
You.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, you'll have to make an appointment or just walk over.
I would say just like email us. I can share my information. You can just email.
You
And
and I have exchanged.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
I'll also share some photos.
Yeah.
Later.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you have any questions online?
I saw a few hand raises.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to unmute yourself and ask questions? Sorry. Like, how do I do this? Paige, do you want to check if someone raised their hand as well?
Sure, I didn't notice anybody raise their hand, but if somebody did have a question, feel free to unmute yourself or let me know and I can unmute you.
We'll have some time later as well for more questions, so I could possibly just like move us to the next step. Yeah, okay. Cool. Um. Where is it? Um, okay, I am going to pass it over to Maitland now. Hello, I'm Maitland. I'm our design manager at CultureHouse. So I am sorry, no worries. So I'm leading our oh yeah, no worries. I'm leading our design and programming for this, or design and working with programming to figure out how we best want to use this space and how we can help folks make this space exactly what they want it to be. So first off, we have some design drivers. These are things that we're like talking to folks about and that are really helping us figure out exactly what it is that we want to put in the space and how we want to help frame it. So we want to create a free all-weather hangout space, like Rishika mentioned before. Having spaces that you don't have to buy anything to come into are kind of rare. So how do we make something that's free and also winter friendly and a space where people can interact with each other? As well as provide information and resources. We love a community board. We love cork boards and things like that, where everyone can bring in information that they want to share. And then as well as bringing together intergenerational community members and bring together as many people in the community as possible. So yeah, this is what we're thinking about when we're putting together the space and when we're bringing you guys into the conversation. So this is our space. This is 64 Union Square. It is between the ATM and Union Square Pizzeria. It's just across the way, and it used to be the Ruby Riders Center. It's this building that I have just, my eyes have glazed over it so many times. So I feel like this is such a, I don't know, we focus on like underutilized spaces, and this feels like a perfect opportunity for this. One of these spaces that just like has gone unloved for a little bit, and we're really excited to really put some energy into this space. So I have some photos of the space and a bit of a layout so you can get a sense of what we're working with. This is the condition it's in right now, and it will not always look like this, but here's just to start off. We have this entrance, there's a ramp, and we have a main room, a small room, a meeting room, a kitchen, and a bathroom in the back. So we got lots of stuff. This is our first pop-up with a kitchen, which is serving lots of exciting opportunities for us. But we can talk more about that. Right, you can see the ramp entrance. We have this huge main room. This is where we're going to hold most of our activities, programming, like performances, things like that. We have this small room, the kitchen, and this meeting room, which is a closed door, and then this bathroom. So this is just some inspiration. I'm going to list out these rooms and kind of like our ideas that we're putting into these rooms and what we're kind of like thinking about. And we're going to talk more about what you guys think about these as well. There's Steph again. So that main big room, we're thinking about a community living room, which you saw, right? This is our Salem community living room. You can see people just sitting down playing a puzzle, right? These are workshops. So community living room, a resource corner, performance space, programming space, art display. And again, we want all of this to be so flexible and changeable. We have a small room, which we think will be awesome for a little free library, which you can see them on the road, but it could be an awesome opportunity to make an indoor version of that. A quiet room, space for games, some place where you can tuck yourself away if that's something you'd like. And then, right, we have our kitchen, which in a lot of our pop-ups, we love to have free coffee and tea, which we will have in this space. We would love to host community potlucks. We would love to host cooking workshops. Any way for people to connect over food is always usually like a hit usually. So, yeah, and then we have our meeting room, which is semi-private. It has a closed door, but there's a window in it, kind of odd, but also kind of fun. So we're hoping to hold this for semi-private meeting space, art display as well. We want art everywhere, and co-working as well. Just ways that people can be casually in the space. Oh, okay. So we have our first Slido. This first question is asking about what makes you want to hang out in a space in the winter. When I think about this question, I think about what makes you want to go into a space or even leave your house. So if you want to, if you scan this little code or you type in slido.com and put in this number, we can start seeing the word cloud of what folks are thinking about. Yeah. True. Yeah. You know, this is our second meeting where we've had hot chocolate, and it's it really helps. We've also have popcorn as well. It's a great one. Soft lighting, yeah. Atmosphere. Yeah, right. It needs to be cozy, needs to be like comfortable. Yeah. Free food for sure. Lovely. Yeah, holiday decor, right? Where most of our pop-up is right. If it's January to May, June. Oh my gosh. January to June. It doesn't really get warm until June anyway. So we have to figure out how we're gonna stay inside and stay warm. Yeah, awesome. Make art, music, right? How do we keep our bodies and hearts warm? Sweet, thank you. All right. I think we have a few more questions here. Oh, how do I go to the next one? Oh, there we go. Okay. So what kind of local resources and information are you looking for, or do you look for? We're largely inspired by, I don't know, I love to see a community board, whether that's in Block Cafe down the street with just a million posters on it falling off, or things that are pasted up on walls, and like how do people share information, and what kind of stuff do you want to hear more about from your local community? And that can be, art workshops, awesome. Right, it can be group meetings. Yeah, cool. Resources for artists. Heck yeah. How's it going? Local events, yeah, exactly. No, totally. I feel like our classes and workshops, I don't know how they choose to pick those out. They're huge.
You can select, or like when you're typing,
Oh,
it's like someone else has already put it in there. You can
oh, nice. Okay, sweet. Art classes and workshops, yeah, cool. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one. Events from people from my culture, lovely. All right, last one, but what kind of activities would welcome visitors from ages 8 to 80? This is this is kind of speaking to our goal of intergenerational connection, and thinking about what are activities that music, like what are activities that apply to everybody, or that can apply to everybody, or provide a space where you can interact with someone who's 8 years old or someone who's 80. Right, yeah, and these precisely. Legos, so true. Awesome. Right, animal programs, delightful. Storytelling, yeah. Right, and I'm so glad this space has a kitchen, because I think that's such a huge part of community building that we don't often
help us in here.
yeah. Yeah. And this is what the people want. This is what they're gonna get. That's so exciting. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna move on again. So now it's time for the design activity. If that wasn't enough for you, we have more. So, oh boy. Okay. So the activity, so we have both an in-person option and we also have an online option. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take about 5 minutes and we're gonna design our ideal week at the pop-up. So Wednesday to Sunday, what is keeping you coming back? What is making you excited to stop by after work? What's making you excited to make it a highlight of your weekend? Right, we're gonna be open from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday to Sunday. If you're in person, we have paper. If you're online, Paige will help you open up the mural. We have an online version. And any questions that you have online, you can ask Paige. And in person, feel free to ask me, but I'll set a timer.
Okay,
Yeah,
so is this ideal week for me
yeah.
or for the community?
You know what? Do whatever you want. I'm excited by both of those options, so you can mix and match both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share the mural?
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you just said, oh, I can set. Do you guys want clipboards? If anyone wants who's online, you can also just put stuff in the chat and Paige can put it in. If you're having issues with mural, but let us know if you need help.
Oh, is it? Oh my gosh. Do I pull one out? For those online, if you want to unmute yourself and talk about it, I can put it in as well. Oh no, that's okay. 2 more minutes. All right.
Evenings is 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we got 2 more minutes. All right. All right. I'm just adding in I filled this out because I enjoyed my own activity. So. Let's see, this is all such tiny. All right. Oh. All right, does anyone else need any extra time? I think our timer just went off. You do? Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. I'll just at least start with sharing what I put down. So I had a hard time filling out the afternoon part of Wednesday through Friday because I work. So, but I put co-working on Wednesday. I think it sounds fun to go and meet people. An evening art workshop. Thursday, I don't know exactly what this entails, but I like the idea of a skill share where folks come and kind of like teach each other things that they know. Friday potluck. We have a Saturday open pantry. I was kind of thinking about like a farmer's market type deal, but sort of sharing food. Saturday dance party. Can't go wrong. And Sunday coffee and chats just sounds like a lovely casual come by and have a little talk. But yeah. Anybody want to share out what they were thinking for their ideal week?
Oh, sure.
Okay, Colin, go ahead.
So just so that,
Yeah,
we have got a lot
yeah,
today,
cool.
but we have various spaces, so
Mm-hmm.
we can have several things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So in the afternoon on Wednesday, I have coffee chat, right?
Yeah.
Band practice for those who are looking to start a band,
Nice.
but not like, like hardcore or anything, just like keyboard.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay,
very basic.
awesome.
Story time for kids,
Nice.
which I love. I would love to do some research.
Yeah,
And also co-working.
yeah,
Uh,
nice.
Thursday, coffee chat again.
Mhm.
Cooking workshop. Co-working again. Friday, art making. Music and sound making. So the difference between making music and making noise or sound
Oh,
as
yeah,
a way to focus, meditate, and also experiment with the way we hear.
cool.
And how do you start this? Admiring your tool selection here, why not take some of that and have a mini workshop on
Yeah,
safest and easiest way to use tools?
awesome.
Saturday, 3D printer workshop.
Ooh, you got one of those?
I have, we can talk with the folks over
Okay.
at, I forgot the name of it.
Artisan Society?
Yeah, that's the, and they can work with us on that.
Awesome.
Working with wood, which I
Yeah.
love to do. And how about this one? Making cocktails.
Oh,
Saturday night or Saturday later.
you gotta get in the programming document and start hosting some of these workshops yourself.
Making the sauce cocktails is probably not one that,
Okay,
but I'm sure we can find somebody.
sounds
Maybe
good.
over at Bow Street, they got folks who can do that.
There you go.
On Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
gardening basics.
Ooh,
So get everyone to have their own garden, grow those tomatoes, and basil.
sweet.
On the evenings, I had on Wednesday, art making and potluck. Thursday evening, cooking workshop. Friday, art making. Saturday evening, I had kids' stories. So kids are out of school or families are out of school. Maybe in the early evening, we can have kids' stories, family music, and family yoga.
Nice.
I think that would be really fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I stole your idea of having a dance party.
Nice, awesome.
Sunday is the best time for a dance
There
party,
you go.
where people are.
Sunday scaries.
That's
Yeah.
right, get rid of the Sunday, the Sunday scaries.
Nice,
absolutely.
cool.
So that's a good time.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
There's fun.
Does anyone have any they want to share? You don't have to share your whole list, but you could throw out some ideas.
Oh, I'm sorry, was I like?
No, I was very excited to hear every single one of your ideas.
I have an idea of a
Yeah.
language conversation exchange.
Ooh.
Or learning a language or one.
Yeah. Like an immersion, something. Yeah.
So if you wanna learn Spanish and it's Spanish.
Yeah, that's cool.
You have like a name tag that says, I'm fluent in these. like,
Yeah.
Language
and then I'm
mixer.
learning these."
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. That's very fun. I love that. Yeah. Anybody?
I wonder about the kitchen, and I know something that I have been doing, like, when I moved to a new place and I didn't really know anyone, is like, I had things to do, but I didn't have, like, chill social interactions while I was doing, like, the things I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it would be like, but just use of the kitchen for you to, like, bring in your own thing, but have, you know, people in the area so that you're not just, like, alone in your house in your own kitchen.
Yeah. Kitchen
Um,
chat.
I think,
Okay, yeah. And you can go unmute yourself.
Just can't read the squares. You can't read the things.
Oh yeah. Okay. Is this any
There's-
better?
Yep, that's good. Yep.
These are pages going in and making them a little bigger, but yeah. Okay. Thanks. Anyone else online have any they want to share?
I'm not online, but I
Yeah,
do have one.
for sure.
Yes to everything everyone else said. Some other things that I put was, on Sundays doing like weekly affirmations or like motivations for the week. And then would love to have like maybe a little like sample kind of thing from different local food and restaurants, just to try out, you know, get a sample of what they specialize in. Oh, and then I said a making class.
Nice. Do you mind what day that goes on? I'm just
I said Saturday.
okay, cool. That's where I put it, so that's good. Cool. Yeah, go ahead.
So like maybe in the evenings, like different community groups can meet for their weekly, monthly. quarterly
Yeah.
meetings.
Nice, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's exciting to be able to just be in a space and then you're like, oh, there's other people using it, doing their own thing, and you can still be in there, you can still be right having a chat with your friend while they're in their meeting, and that's, I don't know, and then they come out and you can socialize there as well. It's like awesome.
Sounds like the library.
Sounds like the library. Yeah, go ahead.
Sunday afternoons, the music category, jazz and or other,
Yeah.
or a combination. Because people have a set, an hour, and they have a good variety. I'm also gonna apply that for the evenings on Wednesday and Thursday.
Nice.
But just to give you an example, it's gonna happen this weekend at the Arts of the Armory.
Oh, nice,
That's
cool.
my design know we're gonna show up at 4:00.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
For musicians, okay, to get out and express.
Yeah,
You'll
cool.
be there too. You'll be there.
I'm gonna be there. You better be there, 'cause you're watching me.
Keep your
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
Yeah, stuff.
ASL classes.
Oh, cool, yeah.
I really want to learn. Lunch and Learns, which is kind of a Skillshare thing, different than NUSK. I put movie nights.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking a performance like would go well with some kind of art gallery opening, like
Yeah.
we would, you know, have like the gallery change every few weeks, every month. I don't know what would work best, but then having like a performance go along with it, so you can bring people for both.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, right? It's like you can have like a celebration for the opening. That's really fun.
Plus, there's always free food at art gallery openings.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yes.
True.
always the best cheese.
Oh, awesome. Paige just added on dance party. Oh no, just added on. Where'd it go? Oh, open mic night.
Oh, and
That'd be fun. Yeah.
like a planner journaling thing.
Oh,
on Sundays, because I know a lot of
nice.
people like to start planning their week out. Might be fun to do together.
Yeah. I really like these ideas about like, I don't know, how to start your week off good with the pop-up, right? Like, I think it's fun that, right, we're not open on Mondays, but it's like, how can Sundays really get everyone like up and ready for the week? Cool. Some chat stuff.
Any pages.
Ooh, oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, there's some of jewelry making, talent show, meditation mornings.
I don't think we could have jewelry and pottery stuff, but for jewelry workshops, I do know where there's.
We could do beading.
Well, but I was gonna say their makerspace in Cambridge, the Foundry.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They have jewelry workshops.
Cool. Yeah, anybody else have anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe having a cooking workshop in the afternoon
Mhm.
and then at night would be a community dinner.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Right. Because they're connected,
Yeah.
right? So you like work in the day and then nice.
What about if the generation, let's say, seniors / new parents, kids?
Oh, like kind of like a, right, like a social club based on like your family or like what kind of
Yeah,
family you
like
have.
new
Yeah.
parents getting-
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. Cool. All right. I'm losing feeling in my feet. All right. Cool. Yeah.
Sorry, just one.
Yeah. No, I'll add
The
it.
game night for seniors, like, I feel like I read like this thing talking about video games and seniors and how, we should like start making video games for seniors and we can set up the games industry waiting, 60 years for their target demographic. Because a lot of
Interesting.
games are like complex.
Uh-huh.
Because like if you introduce people who are retired and
Uh-huh.
bored to like easier video
True, yeah.
games, then they might find a fun new hobby.
Yeah, totally. I mean, game night in general would be very fun, right? Like, I think we're talking about having a projector in the space, right? Like, how can we have movie nights? What can we share digitally that people can share all together and enjoy? So it's really awesome. Anyone have any other things they'd like to share? I don't have to be done just because I can't feel my feet. But we can yeah,
One last thought.
please.
So I know that the Council on Aging has events
Mhm.
and activities.
Yeah,
We can bring some of those in.
exactly. Yeah.
So, well, they could, not every week,
Mhm.
but, maybe once a month,
Mhm.
there's a Council on Aging event at the space.
Yeah, cool.
So, yeah.
I think are we in conversation with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking to them. That's awesome. Really exciting. Yeah, and I appreciate how we've heard some like repetition as well, because I think that is part of making it a habit, right? Like when you come to a space and there's always coffee and tea, you can kind of start building a momentum around that. And right, you're coming in and you're like, oh, you're gonna see Steph every day, and you're gonna be like, hey, let's have some coffee and chat, right? Or you're coming in and you're like, oh, I know there's always this meeting that's happening, and there's some cool people who come out afterwards, right? And like, how do you start kind of thinking about how to make people come back? I think that's like a big thing. Yeah, Leora, what's up?
I guess this isn't like on the programming as much as the design side, but I think part of that like coming back is really cool when like the space itself looks like there have been things in it.
Yeah.
where There's this real benefit to like having a very like clean
Mhm.
and neutral like changeable space, but it there's the collages that people made at last week's
Yeah.
workshop on the
No,
front. It's
totally.
Like, hey, people come here.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that we've been thinking about that a lot, about the like evidence of human life and how do we like make, because it's usually it's more you're more excited to engage with the space when it's been pre-loved, maybe. You have a bit more agency to do whatever you like. So I think that's like a big thing we're thinking about as well. Yeah, does anyone on the chat have anything or online have anything else they want to share? Oh, Anne, all right. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know if we have any others. We probably do have more slides, but we will take all this together and smush it around, and then we will have lots of very exciting events. Do you know where the presentation is? So we'll find it. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So just gonna kind of, oh, fine. Just gonna talk more about what's coming up. So we have a call for programming that's out, so please start planning all of these events and let us know so that we can put them in. And also the reason we keep calling Steph out is because Steph is our pop-up manager. She's gonna be in the space 5 days a week, every day. You can go by, say hi. Even just to meet her, please go. And also opening date is Wednesday, January 10th. That's the day we're opening, but we're also gonna do a little party on the 12th. So we're hoping to plan some music, some food, and some art, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Open ideas. And then how can you be involved? So one is programming. We need to fill the space with as much as we can do in 5 months. I know 5 months seems long now, but it goes by so quick, and yeah, I know. It just let's do as much as we can here. And then volunteering as well. Steph is our manager, but we are definitely opening up the space to anyone who wants to help out with staffing. You want to spend an hour or two, please come by and do that. We are also going to do a community build day. So December 15th. We're going to be in the space setting up a lot of furniture, painting, cleaning. So if anyone wants to come by, please feel free. We'll be there from like, I would say 10 to 4 is like a good time. Yeah. So yeah, come by and
I'll give you a job.
yeah, and for those of you who are on the newsletter, you'll get a newsletter likely from me in the next week, just letting you guys know that date and time too. But if you want to show up, definitely do that. And yeah, any questions? Sorry, you have a question?
Yeah, what do you mean by programming? Like,
So all these events, someone has to host them. So like if you have ideas, let us know. Two, if you want to host something yourself, you know someone who can host something, let them know. The link is on the website where also we have a pay structure. So anyone programming or doing an event in the space is going to be compensated based on that structure. The cost to using the space is nothing. So yeah, it's a space for free. And that's how we want it to be. It's a community space. So yeah, like the more people, the better. We yeah.
Is it gonna be drop-in? But like when you're open 1 to 8, is it gonna be like the space is available literally that whole time for drop-in, and then in addition to that, you'll be doing special events?
Yeah. So the way that we do it is like we do, because it's a pop-up and we are kind of trying to learn something from it, we try to fill it up with as much as we can. So we kind of start now with programming events into it, so that we have, a calendar up, people know when they come in, something might be happening. But it's also, it's a living room space. You want to come in, hang out during your lunchtime, you can do that. You want to come in and you decide that, okay, tomorrow I want to host something, talk to Steph, she'll be there and she can put you on the agenda. And we want to make sure that as many people come to your event as well. So making sure that once we plan that, everyone can come in. Yeah.
So it'll be like, oh, okay, because the other thing it sounds like is you're not gonna have it set up where all the events up front. You're gonna kind of have it open and available. That's nice.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Our goal right now is to make sure that at least the first couple of weeks of January are planned, so that when we open, it's ready for people to come in. I know when we do these spaces, it definitely takes people a little bit to kind of figure out what is this space. Oh, I didn't know I could do this in here, and because like everything you guys posted here can happen in that space. Like I've been working at CultureHouse for 2 years, and it's been like the most fun things happen in that space. So
another thing that comes up that I didn't really get talked about here, but I know we filled this quite a bit, are people who wanna host, like their own meetings, like.
Yeah.
Particularly, like condo associations, you know, everyone needs to have those meetings, but nobody wants to have everybody in their apartment. And so, do you like foresee that also? Those
Yes.
Kinds of needs, maybe trying to
Yeah.
get met too?
No, for sure. So we have one room which we're sort of calling the meeting room. But it's a room that has a door in it, so it can be shut. So we're kind of putting that as the meeting room because we've also heard that from like local community groups, organizations like CAS also wanting to have like their community meetings in there. And looking for a space for that. So definitely open for that. Again, it's free to use. So the more people want to use it, that's what we want to be able to do.
Yes, is there a policy of like, if you anticipate there being a certain number of people, which I think you're gonna be more mindful about scheduling ahead?
Yeah, that's what Steph will be doing. But yeah, we will be making sure that we're scheduling those things and yeah, I mean, the amount of things that happen on the back end are quite a bit. So we just want to make it as easy for all of you to use. So yeah, you can come in, let us know if it's like a monthly meeting, we'll make sure we can plan that, put that in. Especially as a space where we try to have multiple things happening at the same time. Just making sure that we can figure that out as well. Yeah.
Are you planning any marketing?
Yes.
Or it's inaugural and ongoing?
Yeah.
Media, online and hard copy?
Yes. All of that will be coming out in the next week. So we can share that out. We would love anyone to share anything. So if you want to take posters from us, you want to share stuff on your social media, just reach out to us and we can send you some copies to share it as well.
I was gonna say, if you want to host an event, but maybe you're not a public speaker, or you're like a little intimidated by that, don't let that hold you back. Like, I'm totally happy to be like just the person to say like, hey, this is where we're having it. Y'all are gonna be doing this in this room, you know, like, so you don't have to feel like you have to be up there talking in front of everybody, because I know that that's not easy for everyone. So, just wanna make that be known, let your friends know, even if they are a little shy, that if they don't have to make the hosting part. Mostly that's the planning, you know, getting everything together that's needed for the event, more so than being the face that says hello to everyone. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a bunch of questions. I'll try to keep it short. So what if someone wanted to have an event where they're actually charging people in order to recoup their costs for putting on the event or whatever? Because it's a community center, essentially, open to the community for free, how do you deal with people charging fee?
We don't host any events where people are charging, and charging for tickets, and the reason is because we compensate people for hosting an event. So they're being compensated to host something. They're also being provided the space for free. So we want to make sure that it's accessible to everyone. So we don't host any events that they may be ticketed, like we can do an Eventbrite, but we haven't done that in our pop-ups and we try not to. Yeah.
And my second question is, can you imagine getting an extended lease of the space after the 8 or 5 months? Do you imagine that maybe we can do another 5 afterwards or 8?
At the moment we have funding for 5. But I know the neighborhood council is definitely looking into seeing how, based on how this pop-up goes, if they can kind of advocate for using that space itself for a while. But I can't speak to that just because I know for us this is all we have funding for at the moment. Yeah.
And actually on it, might not.
Yeah.
But the landlords, are they aware of that dynamic? Is that, you know, there's a follow-up conversation potentially happening about?
They don't at the moment. Yeah. I know it's just kind of an idea right now, especially once the pop-ups open, seeing how it goes and how people are using the space. So it's definitely something the neighborhood council has been thinking about. But have not talked to the landlord yet about it. Yeah. Do you have any questions online? Does anyone? Oh, we only have 4 people left. Okay, great. Well, I am going to stop recording. How do you stop recording?
So feel free to leave your